Morantz, please.
Thank you. Mr. Simser, I just want to ask you, you've written in the past about unexplained wealth orders. And I just wonder if we could get into that a little bit, if you could talk about what they are, how they can be implemented in both the civil and criminal contexts, and what role the federal government might play in encouraging provinces to bring this type of legislation, or whether or not the federal government is well placed to do it itself.
Excellent question. Thank you for it. So in unexplained wealth order, we have two jurisdictions right now that use them, Manitoba and British Columbia. And British Columbia has been the most aggressive with their use of the tool. And what it is, it's an information gathering tool, and it's typically used, and there's about 100 jurisdictions worldwide that use UWOs, or unexplained wealth orders. And what it is, it's a court order saying to someone that's implicated in crime, you have more assets than your known income and assets could support. Where did the money come from? And if there is a legitimate explanation, my grandmother died and I inherited the wealth, that's fine, that's the end of the matter. But more often than not, there isn't. And so that's the stuff that's kind of playing out. In terms of the role of the federal government, UWOs right now are mostly a civil tool. So there are some places where the federal government could think about this. Sanctions, for example. We have a very poor forfeiture regime under the Special Economic Measures Act. And that might be a tool because we do have oligarch money. It's tied up. We don't know what the legend is behind it. And the oligarchs have used very effective advisors to hide the source of their money. The other thing the federal government could do is encourage the jurisdictions that don't have civil forfeiture, PEI, Newfoundland, for example, to adopt it.
Yeah. And are there civil liberties issues around the use of unexplained wealth orders? Could someone argue, for example, well, it's really none of your business how I got my money, and you can't assume it's legitimate or illegitimate just based on how I might respond to your inquiry?
Yes, there are, and I personally think that they'll be overcome, but those are playing out right now in the courts in BC. So, for example, you have money from an investment fraud. It was placed in the trust account of a lawyer who's been disbarred from money laundering. I love the irony of that, Mr. Pelche. And so there's a UWO. Where did that money come from? And so the first challenge is, well, this is a civil liberties issue. But Cullen's report said, on balance, when it comes to these things, that it is charter-proof. It will survive a charter challenge.
Okay, thank you for that. I just want to go to Ms. Vandenberg. I wanted to see if I could get you to expand a little bit on the issue of digital income verification, why it's so important from your perspective. And part of what I'm thinking about is I recall last spring Sam Cooper wrote an article about money laundering that had gone on through HSBC, where there had been falsified mortgage applications showing basically fake income letters, and this allowed these mortgages to proceed. So is that one of the reasons you'd like to have this digital income verification, and how would it work?
Absolutely, and thank you so much for the question. We've been actively working with both Finance and Revenue Canada to propose solutions for a digital income verification tool that would work securely within the CRA systems. Our goal is to facilitate access to income verification while maintaining strong boundaries, efficiency, security, all that fun stuff. We think the tool should be free to access in order to guarantee neutrality and accessibility for all Canadians, regardless of their financial situation. And frankly, prioritizing income verification for mortgages is essential. Mortgages are the largest financial commitment most Canadian families will ever have to make, and mortgage fraud is on the rise, and it has been for a while. A digital income verification tool is critical to combat that while maintaining data privacy.
The argument that we're dealing with people's private information that they're providing to CRA on the basis that it will be kept private. So on what basis would a bank be entitled to receive that information? Would they need the consent of the mortgage applicant, for example, to get that information, or would the bank have to obtain it?
Ideally, yes. I will issue the caveat that I am not the IT genius that has the capacity to design what the system would look like. But what I would speak to is the fact that the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre processed more than 63,000 reports of fraud in 2023 alone. And this is in excess of $560 million of loss for Canada's economy. So how the digital income tool is designed to ensure that the most confidential information of Canadians maintains its confidentiality, I am happy to leave that up to the wizards, whether internal to the CRA or if it goes out to an RFP, the bleeding edge technology companies that we have right here in Canada. But the reality is mortgage fraud is on the rise. The pressure to own a home, something that many see as a key milestone of success, is pushing people to desperate measures. I think the expression is build a better mousetrap and the mouse gets better at committing fraud. It's becoming a costly problem for lenders. Research is showing that for every $1 lost to fraud, Canadian financial services require over $3.78 alone to recover.
Okay. Thank you very much.